Welcome to number 5 in this series of equation editor software, getting started with the command line of Mathcast. So we're going to look at how we start entering characters into this command line, and I'm going to do the example of the 3 most famous equations of all time for as voted. So I've brought up a screen. Here we have now example number 1, as yet unsaved. If I just type on the add equation icon now on the left, we're going to type in the very first one, E equals mc squared. Oh dear, that doesn't look right, because the C looks like it's formatted immediately to be a subscript. If we just place return, you see that it's defaulted to anything number like 1, 2, A, B, whatever, it will default to being a subscript. If I delete that, and if I now click on the cedilla, I think it's called, mc squared, there we go, equals mc squared. Now if I can shorten that even further by just typing on 1. Let's click on 1 squared equals mc squared. Happy days, that's looking good. Now if I click on add equation, I can then add f equals ma. Nothing unusual about that one. Happy days, that's looking good. If I then click on, I can just place return, it would take me to that particular line. Or if I click on the add, if I click on the one, it says insert equation, it will put it the line above. That's no problem at all, because I can always move it down. If I type on e to the I and then click on pi at the bottom, equals -1. Enter. Now I've got them in the wrong order, so I'll just click on the arrow down, or move up, move down, I've got it in the right order. Now you'll see e to the I pi is not correct because it's assuming they're all on the same line, so I need to raise e to the power of I pi. If I just do that, then all it does is raises I to that power. So I need to put a left bracket there and a right bracket. Whenever you see that, you need to add left and right. E to the I pi equals -1. Happy days. Now let's talk units, as every good physicist looks at. So I'm going to go into equals mc squared. I'm now going to replace these symbols with units. I'm going to insert the equation here. So I'm now going to have energy equals 10 kilograms times 3.0 times 10 to the 8 meters per second, and click on squared because it equals mc squared. Oh dear, that doesn't look very good. So this is a checking system, so look at it and go, it doesn't look good, because first of all the units are italicized, units are not italicized, and also there's some issues with the squared and the other units there. So let's deal with each issue as we come to it. So first of all, if I now put them in speech marks, quotation marks, equals 10 kilograms and meters per second. If I have anything to do with units, I put it into quotation marks. Starting off, that's looking better. Then now no longer italicized. The next stage is we should always put a gap between the unit and the value. So here we just press the square, and the same for the meter, and then there should be a gap between meter and second, but otherwise we're implying it's a millisecond. Starting to get there. Now we're looking at the powers. So 10 to the 8, you should put a cedilla there to raise it to that value, and we should put 1 there, and we know that the -1 is more than one value, and put it there, and we're starting to get there. But of course the squared is not looking good, because that's squaring the top part of -1. The whole of the 3 times 10 to the 8 needs to be squared. So if I put a left bracket here and then put a right bracket there, oh look, that looks, as a purist on this kind, that looks absolutely beautiful. So 10 kilograms times 3 times 10 to the 8 meters per second squared, and then we can then take this, and once you've done that, once you've done the hard work of typing it in, just Control C, the usual functions, and then you can bring down, add an equation line into there, and then just add the line again, and then you can just change that, for example, to 3 squared is 9, 10 to the 8 is 16 squared. Now we're going to get meter per second squared. Go just play back with that, and that's going to be meters squared per second squared. Kind of getting closer, looking good. So we've got the 10 kilograms times 3 squared is 9, of course, 10 to the 8 is 16 squared, and then the units are squared as well, so meter squared and second squared to minus 2, and then you can just carry on with that. So you can take that then and go copy, select the whole of it, and then insert a line, type it in there, and then you can just tidy us up, because of course 10 times that is just going to add a value of 10, and then put the kilogram in there. Oh, and then put it down the line below, and then you can just select all these lines and insert them into a Word document, PDF or PowerPoint, for example. And then of course kilogram meters per second squared are the units of joule. And then F equals MA, the same example here, a lot easier. If you have, I'm just going to insert the units now, the values, 10 kilogram. If I press the times button on the number pad twice, I end up getting that, 10 meters per second to the minus 2. So of course that's the initial entry. Need to tidy it up by first of all putting all the units in quotation marks, and then thinking of the spacing to make it tidy it up. And then we have meters per second. There we go, looking good. And then of course we need to make sure that the per second squared is actually a power. So, and it's more than one, so I put a left bracket and a right bracket. Happy days. 10 kilogram times 10 meters per second squared, which then becomes, if I then select all that, Control C, and then line down, insert, Control, then I have 100 kilograms 100 kilogram meters per second squared. And then you can compare energy and force here. So you've got, and you'll see that with that one particularly, you've got you don't need to put a box in there, but you can if you like. It makes no difference on that one. And then finally, e to the I pi equals -1. I can then add cos. If I type the letter P twice, I get pi, plus I sine P twice equals -1. Of course, cos of pi is -1, I sine pi is 0, and you'll see that you can actually do, if I click on there and I can do the geometry or trigonometry, you can type in cos, it comes out exactly the same thing, plus I, it's just fewer clicks I suppose, pi equals -1. You get the same result there. So that's the end of that one. I'm going to save, file, save as, and I've saved it as example number 1 XML in Mathcast, MathML file. Happy days. If I now go, that's the screen we started off with, of course. And then this is number 5 in a series of views and equation editing. The next one we'll look at slightly more challenging equations, but step by step, showing where the pitfalls that I've seen over the years. Thank you for watching. Take care now. Bye bye.